Hey there, Chadi Bazzi here, and welcome to another episode of the Top Listing Agent Show. And I know you guys already know exactly what's the next line that's going to come out of my mouth. I'm excited about today's guest. Actually, I'm more excited than usual excitement about today's guest because the guest that we have today is someone that I've had the opportunity and the privilege to work with in the past, and just seeing him do big things in the real estate world, and for him to be on here allowing us to go into his mind, allowing us to go into his business, allowing him the opportunity to contribute to you at a high level based on experience and over 20 years of experience in this industry just makes me super excited. With that said, we welcome Mr. Blair Ballin to the Top Listing Agent Show. How you doing, my friend?
Doing very good. Good to see you again.
Awesome, brother. Likewise, man. Thank you very much for taking the time out to be with us today. I know you could have been doing, one of many things, and you've chosen to spend your time with us today. So I promise not to keep you here for more than 1 hour.
Okay, you got it.
Awesome. So Blair, let's begin with the typical question. Just introduce yourself. Tell us how long you've been in the business, et cetera, kind of thing. Just, let people know how awesome you are.
Yeah, so been a full-time realtor for 22 years, I think now. I'm in the Phoenix area, so Phoenix, Scottsdale, Chandler, Gilbert. I love this business. I love the career path that I'm on, have been on, and work buyers, sellers, land, commercial, investors, you name it. My opinion is the more that I can learn, the better I am. So I'm all over the place. I have specialties too, but I feel like it's so important to be able to have that vast experience. So if I have a client who owns a home and then they have a commercial property they want to sell or look to buy, I can be that resource. Doesn't mean I'm the expert, but I want to be there for them. So I love what I do, and these types of things I also love giving back, and I love to talk. So here we are.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we're definitely going to have a great conversation today. And Blair, you said you've been in business for over 20 years. Can you tell us, why did you get involved in real estate? How did you get it? I want to be a real estate agent. I mean, we all grew up saying, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer. And here we are serving this community that we love so much. Why did you get involved in real estate?
Yeah, so basically, like I said, I live in Phoenix, went to Arizona State University, ASU, graduated, wanted to buy a house. So I reached out to someone that I was working with, and I was like, hey, I'm looking to buy a house. Do you know a realtor? And they said, yes. Met with that realtor, bought my house, and basically thought that realtor was just a complete joke. And the process that looked like from the outsider standpoint, I was like, well, if that schmuck can do it, then I can do it. Like I can be a schmuck too. So I thought, why not? So then about a year after that, I got licensed, and here we are.
Awesome. So, the unfortunate thing is you came in because of a, not so good experience that you had with a real estate agent. And you're like, if that person can do it, imagine what I can do once I get involved in this business. And, 22 years later, we know that this business is not, full of sunshine every single day. We have the drama that we have to go through, the bad experiences, the different market shifts, and, crazy buyers, some crazy sellers. And yet we still love this industry, and we want to help out as many people as we possibly can. Now, one of the things, three things I want to talk about today. One is I want to talk about, the mindset it takes for a person to, last 20 plus years in a business, because you and I both know that most people are in and out of the business in the first 18 months. The second thing I want to talk about is, lead generation, which is, if you ain't got no leads, then, you ain't got no income. And the third thing I want to talk about is, the skills it takes to convert the leads, because there's a lot of people that I speak to, Blair, that have like an abundance of leads that when we take a look at the board, they ain't got no listings and they ain't got no pendings, and it's like, what the heck is going on? We ain't got a lead generation problem. So let's begin with the mindset. Like, did you come into this business with the mindset of like, I am a rock star and I am gonna make it and I'm gonna kill it? And what was your mindset like back then? What's it like right now?
Yeah, so the complete opposite. I mean, back then I was a naive, ignorant dummy. And I had no idea about anything. And the mindset was, I had some other part-time jobs at the time, and basically rely on that income while also, so I worked at a golf course, and I was hoping, my expectation was that the people that I worked with or around, the members that were there or the other people that I worked with, they would be my, as we would call it, my sphere or database or whatever. And it was the exact opposite. I mean, none of that really worked out very well. In my 20s, I can't say I had any mindset at all, because it wasn't there. As I've developed and gone through the years, in my opinion, obviously we need leads, but there is probably nothing greater than mindset and a positive mindset. I can think back to 2008 when so many of us were struggling and dealing with stuff. I was fortunate to get involved with REOs, and I did well with them. And then my ego got too big, and it got the best of me. And my mindset went to crap. And I went through a very, very dark period in my life where, thinking suicide and all this stuff because I just didn't have the right mindset. And fortunately, I had the right friends and family around me and coaches to help me get out of that. And since then, I feel like what I probably have worked on greatest is not my lead generation, lead conversion, but is mindset. Like there is nothing more important than that. As an example, so last year when COVID started to take more of an impact on the world, but in our world, more specifically real estate, I was on my wedding anniversary trip with my wife in Texas. We live in Phoenix. We were in Texas. And basically the news started to come down that, this sporting event was canceled. This one was canceled. This school was closed. This was closed, whatever, all that stuff. And I took the approach that I'm on vacation and I'm going to look at all this news. And I was having an okay first quarter, not that great. This was in March. Nothing spectacular. But I was like, I'm going to absorb all this garbage with the news. And then I'm going to get back Sunday evening. And then Monday morning, I'm going to absolutely kill it. I'm going to take the same approach that I did in 2007 when foreclosures, or 8, when they started to happen. Unfortunately, some agents take the reverse approach. COVID's here, so we can't go to a house because of this. And I respect all of those concerns. I'm vaccinated. I'm going to wear a mask. To each their own, but that's my approach. But I'm going to do everything I possibly can because I know there's going to be opportunity and more opportunity because others will probably run from this in fear. And that's cool. I get it. But I wanted to absolutely dominate, and I knew I would, and nothing would stop me. There'd be no distractions. There'd be nothing other than just success. And I'm grateful and happy to say that I did dominate last year and this year more so. And it was all related to mindset. And anytime I can look at my numbers now, leads might play a little bit part of it, but it's all about mindset. Whenever my mindset's up, I do better. Whenever it's down, income is down, everything is down.
So basically, the more you work on you, the easier it is to operate the business. The easier it is for you to take the detours that you need to make, to adapt, to shift, to pivot, to do whatever it takes to make sure that anything outside of you, okay, is not going to impact you, because you are in control of this, and you're in control of what comes out of your mouth, and you're in control of your actions. So what you said is like, hey, let the world do what the world is going to do. I will play my part. I will protect my family. I will protect the people I'm going to, interact with, but I still got a job to do. And I'm going to serve the people that need to be served, because there's a lot of people that are going to use these external circumstances as an excuse for not showing up at their best every single day. So that is a strong mindset, Blair. And not everybody has that mindset. How does one develop that mental muscle? Like, what are some of the things that you've done that caused you to become more mentally tough?
I think there's so many things. I think you have to have the right people around you. That
Okay.
certainly makes it easier. Having the wrong people or no people makes it harder. That doesn't mean it can't be done. But I think there's individuals like yourself, that can help someone, develop that. I can also say, like, I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins, and I can remember going to his events live in person, the Unleash Your Power Within, walking across the fire. And frequently I'll think of that specific event. Like, I went to the actual event, knowing I'd have to walk across fire. Okay, like, probably not a big deal. During the day, not a big deal. And then we get to the actual walking across the fire specific event, and then he shows these massive logs of fire, fake fire, on the screen, and I'm like, holy crap. Like, now I'm starting to freak out. And then he walks you through the exercise, repeating whatever it is, cool, moss, the opposite of fire. So cool and moss. And then, you get to the fire, and then you have in your mind that basically, well, I did, I'm just going to walk across and then getting my feet hosed off. I'm going to do this. Nothing will stop me from doing it, and everything will be okay. And that's kind of, breaking that barrier of people who think like it's hard or impossible to walk across fire. I'm not trying to, like, make it sound easy, but in reality, it really was. Like, I left the experience wanting to walk, instead of on 8 feet of fire, like 20 feet, because it went by in a flash. And I think back whenever I start to either struggle or want to exceed more, I think back to walking across the fire. Like, I did this. The whole point, unleash your power within. I want to unleash my power. There's going to be struggles. Stuff will come up. I shouldn't say that. Stuff could come up in our lives. And then we might, backtrack a little bit. But I think back to walking across the fire, and it gets me through.
This is what in the world of NLP, and obviously Tony Robbins is a master of NLP. This is what we call anchor. You've been anchored, and anytime you feel like, either you're losing your power, or you're questioning your power, or you're just doubting something, you just take yourself back to that experience, because now it's anchored in you, and all of a sudden it changes your physiology, it changes your state of mind, it changes, your whole thought process and the way that you feel, and all of a sudden you just triggered yourself right back into your power. So I love that. And to our audience that's watching this video and or listening to this, I ask you, what is your anchor of power? What is your anchor of power? Think to yourself, when was a time in my life where I absolutely felt like I was on fire? I want you to imagine that. I want you to emotionalize that right now, and see how instantly you will automatically change your state in the way that you feel. And I want you to embed that in your mind right now as something that you think about, and maybe begin your day with every single day, because then you begin to, feel different, act different, walk different, speak different, and then your experience will become different. Now you say,
Chad,
yeah,
if I could add one thing to that, these days are different with COVID, so this is a while back, but I'll give an experience more specific to real estate. A couple of years ago, I went door knocking with an associate who was a new agent, wanted to learn. I was door knocking at that time. I said, yeah, I'm happy to go with you. So we did. But I'll tell you, and I'll be honest, as I am with everything else, is I didn't really want to be there. Not because it was someone else that I was door knocking with. I just didn't feel like it. It's in an area that I didn't really love, and I didn't want to be there. So we had a goal of doing each 100 doors. And no joke, the first 89 doors, every door was like, whatever. Like, if they answer, I'll give them the flyer, I'll do my script, whatever. After the 89th door, I immediately switched my mindset to something. I mean, this was 5-6 years ago, so I don't remember the exact words, but something like this. So I have 10 doors left. The people who own those homes are going to answer the door. They're going to be friendly. They're going to be receptive to my message, and they will want to work with me. So, and no joke, next door I knock on, they answer. It ended up not getting a listing, but we got the listing appointment, and the only appointment from that door knocking. And call it chance, call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it, I changed my mindset, and they answered, and there we go.
Yep. So what you did in that moment, Blair, is you actually took on the first step in the sales process. There's 6 steps in the sales process, and step number 1 is to assume the outcome. And that's exactly what happened. Call that woo-woo, call that chance, call that luck, call it whatever. Hey, if you didn't have that mindset, maybe that person would have set a listing appointment with someone else because your energy would have never been aligned to be received the way that you conveyed it to that seller in that moment. So that is awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so do you do affirmations by any chance?
I did after going to UPW, but I haven't in quite a while. I do every evening though a little grateful journey, not affirmations, but a grateful journey.
Okay. So that, do you feel like that helps with mindset as well too?
It 100% does. I forget the exact phrase or whatever that Tony says, or you've told me too, but if you're living in a state of gratitude, there's nothing to be fearful of. And it's just such a better spot to be in. And I think so many people underestimate what they can be grateful for. After Tony's event, I took some time to think about it, and it's grateful for the air we breathe, the internet that you and I are communicating through, or whatever. It could be as simple as the dirt we're walking on, or whatever. And I realize there's so much happening in the world, and a lot of potentially negative stuff and sad stuff, but there's still so many. We're alive, we're breathing. That's enough to be grateful for.
Yeah.
So that state, once I learned more about that also, was a massive transformation. So I strongly encourage anyone listening, watching, whatever, that the quicker they can get there and stay there, the better life they will have.
Because you will have a different lens. You begin to see things differently. Like, for example, there's somebody out there that's complaining right now about what a horrible buyer they have. Well, someone else is wishing and praying they have that buyer to work with. You know what I mean? Be grateful that you have a buyer, regardless of what the situation is, etc. So I'm going to give our audience a challenge right now. And the challenge is, it's a 30-day challenge. And what I want you to do for the next 30 days is I want you to write 2 things that you are grateful for every single day, just 2. The challenge in that is going to be is that you're not allowed to be grateful for the same thing twice in every single month, in the entire month. Because what I want you to do is I want you to go above and beyond the norm of just saying, hey, I'm thankful to be alive today. Like, I want you to look for things from a different lens, from a different perspective. I want you to really get how good you got it versus the way you're making it out to be in your mind, which is going to ease the tension, the stress that's already in your mind, and totally open up your eyes to the opportunities and the beauty that already lives around you. Look, one thing I know about you, Blair, is that you are a prospector. Okay, you ain't waiting for things to happen, and if things happen for you, it's because you've planted the seed many years ago by picking up the phone, by door knocking, by doing whatever it takes. Can we talk about like how prospecting has changed now versus 20 some years ago, and what you may be doing different in terms of prospecting and lead generation today?
Totally. So I love talking about mindset. Whenever I do these kind of things, that rarely comes up, and that was super cool. One of the things I'm most passionate about is prospecting, because it's what I've done for the past, 11 years. And I think I have some knowledge about it that I love to give to others. So absolutely. So, I know this is a listing type podcast. I'll be the first one to say I certainly do listings. I love listings, love working with sellers. I am more of a buyer's agent. To each their own, though. Doesn't mean one is better than the other. But with that being said, yes, I built my business based off of prospecting. And a couple things that I want to get through to the audience is, and you taught me this a while back, was that it's not uncommon that we might have a dial session where I call 300 people and maybe 2 people answer. So most agents, I feel, their reaction would be, calling sucks. I don't want to do it. The leads suck. All of this suck. Doesn't matter if it's a buyer lead, expired FSBO, whatever. This process sucks. The first thing I would say is we need to really work on changing that mindset approach, because now if that ends up occurring every day for a year, that's probably a problem. We need to figure out, if it's data or whatever, but it's not the process. It's not the results that totally matter. Yes, we need leads, we need appointments, we need closings, but let's focus on the process. So over the past 11 years, I can tell you that I try my best daily to pick up the phone for 2 hours. Does it happen every day? Absolutely not. Does it happen consistently? And has it happened consistently for 11 years? And is that the reason why I am where I am, because of also my mindset? 100% yes. Is it the scripts I use? No, my scripts are as good as anyone else's or as bad as anyone else's. I don't have magical words that I say when people pick up or don't pick up. It's the continued process of, I have this list of 100 names. I'm going to call them. They don't answer. I'm going to keep calling. I'm going to door knock. I'm going to text. I'm going to mail. I'm going to do whatever it takes to be able to convert them so I can help them and or figure out if I can help them. Now, over the past couple of years, there's no question prospecting has become more difficult. Less people are answering. My number is showing up as spam or numbers showing up as spam. It's harder. So what does that mean? I spend more time calling. I spend more time texting. I still have a goal, and that goal is to do a certain thing in my life, whether it's income, support my family, or all of the above. And the way I'm going to get there is by prospecting. So if I need to, used to make an hour of dials, now it's 2, then I make 2. That's what I do. And that's the only way I'm going to get to my goal. There's going to be days where no one picks up. People tell me to F off. It is what it is. It's all part of it. I'm okay with it. Do I get burnt out? Absolutely. I just keep plugging away.
So basically what you're saying is that you got a job to do. If you want to reach the goal, there's a job to do, and you just show up and do the work every single day, whether it's going to take 1 hour or sometimes 1.5 hours or 2 hours, it doesn't matter. You already got the mindset of doing whatever it takes, and you just do it. So my question to you is, and you said this, you said, hey, are there days where I don't feel like doing it? Well, yeah, there's a lot of days that are going to come up where you don't feel like doing it. And that becomes a battle in the mind of do I win, or does the feeling of not doing it win? And I'm willing to bet that there's a lot of days that you don't feel like doing it and you do it anyways. And I'm just curious as to what it is that you do to get yourself to do your job anyways.
It's focusing on my goals. So, reverse engineering everything. So at the beginning, before the beginning of the year, creating a business plan, which gets edited and revised during the year. But there's goals on that, whether it's, income, properties, real estate, time with family, whatever they are. And then changing that as the year goes on. So if it starts at this number and then you want it to be that number, I know that I have to continue to prospect to be able to get the appointments to closings, to be able to get to that goal. So it's all about that goal. There's no question that there's days where I'm like, this sucks. I don't want to do it, but whatever. Now, my mindset going into those calls might not be the greatest. And I recognize that, but I'm still going to make those dials regardless. That's what I have to do. It's part of my daily task. And I'm going to do it because I need to, and I have to, and I want to get to my goals.
I love it. I love it. And Blair, did you ever, I don't know, but did you ever have a fear of prospecting? Because, that's everybody's got a fear of prospecting. Did you ever experience any fear around picking up the phone and making phone calls or just going out there and doing any kind of prospecting?
100% yes. I think I actually started calling FSBOs in 2003, which I'm still scared shitless of. I mostly call expireds and buyer leads. But I called Red X leads at the time. And yeah, I picked up the phone and I was like, oh my God, what are they going to say? What am I going to say? Whatever. But it quickly turned into then, as I made prospecting most of my career, or all of my, most of my career, it doesn't matter. Like, the fear, I recognize the fear. I accept that agents and people have it. And I don't mean to be hard about it, but it doesn't matter to me then, because then how important are your goals? Like, we need to move on from the fear, figure it out. Like, the worst thing that someone can probably say is whatever they say, and then, okay, you hang up the phone and never speak to them again. Like, they attack your family, but like, they don't even know you. So who really cares? And I've tried my best to turn prospecting into a fun activity. So the story or whatever that I tell people, and this is stupid, but basically I called someone and I asked for, like Melissa, and this guy answered, and he's like, no, like I'm busy having sex with her. And I was like, oh, okay, so I'll call back in 30 seconds. So, again, it's a stupid joke that I came back with, but it was funny to me. So, and I didn't care, like, oh, dude, like I'm, having sex with her, like whatever. And he said it in a rude way that with words I can't use or whatever now, but whatever. Someone tells me to F off, I'll tell them to F off back, like whatever. Not always the thing I would suggest saying, but we have to make a good use of that time. And there's no question, over time, those words said to us and the activities, they do cause us to get burnt out. But then we take days off, or whatever we do, we go do the things that we love to do outside of work, and we get right back in the saddle, and it's not a big deal. So the fear thing is legit and real. I know agents have it, probably one of the biggest concerns as to why they don't call, but how important are your goals?
How many times you reference that so far in the 20 some minutes that we've been live, is the importance of just going back to the why, going back to your purpose, going back to your goals. And it's something that a lot of people do, like during the month of December as they get ready for the next year. And then we're not going to call it like a New Year's resolution or anything like that, but then it just goes to the wayside. How often do you review your goals?
My business plan, I review quarterly,
Okay.
but I'm looking at goals and priorities and all that stuff daily. So let's go with daily.
Daily. I love it. I love it. So, one of the things that we do in our journaling process is that we ask you to write down your top 3 goals every single day. And the reason we want to do that is because we want to remove the filter. We want to activate the reticular activating system for you to attract, for you to notice the opportunities that exist all around you. And look in your MLS, there's an abundance of opportunity every single day. It's just being spread out between different agents. And you can multiply the amount of share that you currently have right now by simply just gaining the right focus. And your biggest focus every single day, besides being on your clients, should be on the why you want to serve that many clients, etc. Beautiful. Okay. I'm a brand new agent. Let's talk to the brand new agent. I'm a brand new agent, Blair. You've been in the business for 22 years. I want to pick your brain real quickly. What is the fastest way for me to increase my production by just one deal a month? Like, what can I do that maybe I'm not doing right now to just increase my production by just one deal a month? Give me one, 2, 3 things I should be doing, focused on.
Did you say 1 or 2 things or just one?
Whatever you want.
So the first thing is, I'm going to get up because there's a reason, is I have this, my vision board. It's in my office, have it right behind me, look at it every day. We need to have that. So it again goes back to the why. Why are we doing
number one, I'm going to write down number 1, get clear on the why.
Absolutely. Because without that, we don't know either what we want or where we're going. So if we don't know either of those things, we're just going to end up doing whatever. And that was a struggle of mine for quite a while, probably the first, let's call it maybe like 8 years in the business. I didn't know any of that. So it was just a crapshoot every day. Outside of that, finding the source that you want to work on and just dominate that. So if it's prospecting, hit prospecting up, figure out the best ways to do it. If it's open houses, then figuring out the best way to do open houses. There's nothing wrong with any of the multitude of sources that we have in our business to get business. I'm not a fan of open houses. I'm not a fan of networking. I'm not a fan of everything else. I love prospecting. That's what I do. I love the challenge. I love helping people. I love the ability to know I can pick up the phone, try to convert someone, and then have them trust me, and then earn their business to then find the challenge of either selling their home or finding a home, more so in this market with limited supply. I love that challenge. That's the type of mentality I am. So find that inner strength within you that will then get you that deal, and then continue to stay clear and just work towards it.
Perfect. So we said number one, get clear on your why. Number two, identify the single most important lead generation source for you. And again, there's no right or wrong way to generate a lead. Whether you want to serve sellers, you have a multitude of avenues that you can take. You could do just listed calls, just sold calls, circle dialing, expired for sell by owners, absentee owners, people networking, etc. You want to work buyers. There's different methods of online marketing, different methods of direct media marketing, open houses. It doesn't matter. Just get that list of all the different lead generation methods and see which one is the one I want to double down on. Which one is the one that I'm most comfortable working for me, and double down on that one and stick with it until you perfect it. And then once you do that, then you can add other lead generation sources to your business, etc. So that's number two. So now let's talk about how important is skills, sales skills, listing presentation, buyer presentation, objection handling, closing, etc.
I think it obviously has its place in business. And maybe someone could say this is my presentation, but I personally take, and maybe it's also because I've been in the business longer, and I know certain things that newer agents might not. I don't mean that egotistically, it's just maybe it's different. I really try to go after the relationship, meaning develop the rapport so the person trusts me. Now, there's going to be discussion of the market, so they can feel comfortable in my knowledge and professionalism about what's going on out there and what's expected to happen. That's my presentation. Like I can't honestly remember the last time I used like a formal booklet for a listing presentation. It's, printing out some comps and then some neighborhood information. And then I'm just there to meet the person, try to gain their trust, finding commonalities, and then just making sure that they're comfortable with me. But, I think within there, if there is a commonality, it's knowing, well, being honest, of course, but knowing the market. Like I feel very strong in saying, I'm very aware of what's going on out there. I've been through multiple cycles, and I can speak to what's going on and what's expected to happen. None of us know what really will happen, but based on my experience, here's what I think will happen based off of these trends. And in that, I think trust can be obtained, and that's what I'm selling. And I guess that's my presentation.
Awesome. So basically, what you're saying in different words is that let the focus be on the relationship and really identify and, first of all, get them to like you and trust you so they can open up to you and share with you, that goal that they want to accomplish or that obstacle that they want to overcome. and show them how you are the expert, you are the person of authority, how well aware you are of the market conditions and what is happening, and you can either help them reach the goal and or solve the problem. So it's not a matter of just like, here's your one line, objection handler, or your magic, few magic words to get people to do that which they don't want to do to begin with, etc. Okay. So basically, master the art of communication. Okay. Authentically, ethically is what you're saying, right?
100%. And one of the phrases that I use most often, and I do it with both buyers and sellers when I meet with them in person, is, do I have your permission to be honest with you? And we all know what the answer will be, but without asking it, it doesn't then put it out there. And I feel that then you absolutely have their permission to be honest with them, which so many times is a barrier for us to proceed with something. So I make sure to ask it, and they answer, of course you do, yes. And then that's out there. Something happens, hey, you told me I can be honest with you, so here it is. Outside of that, yeah, just build the relationship and bring my knowledge to the table.
Awesome, brother. Thank you very much for sharing that, because psychologically speaking, that is a very what it does on a psychological level when you ask somebody for permission to be brutally honest with them is it removes you from having to be cautious about what you say, and all of a sudden you're speaking more of your truth. You're speaking more of the reality, based on the reality, not what they want to hear based on what they were thinking prior to. And I think that's a mistake that a lot of people do, is they meet somebody, and rather than tell them exactly the A and the B and the C that is required for them to reach their goal or overcome their obstacle, we think we have to tell them something that they are going to have to agree with, or something that they like, something non-threatening. And 9 out of 10 times, that's why objections come up at the end, because the real issues were never really addressed in the most honest fashion as, as possible. Blair, this has been great so far. And I'm just curious, is there a question that you feel like I should have asked you that I haven't asked you that I need to ask you right now?
Let's see. So
That's a good
no,
one.
I mean, no, I mean, I could keep rambling on about stuff, but no, I think, you covered it, and new agents, I would hope would get something out of it. The question that I just asked, do I have your permission to be honest with you? I think is a question that many agents should ask themselves, be honest with themselves. Because I think too many agents aren't honest with themselves. Figure out why you're in this, and ask yourself and be honest with yourself. Like it took me a while to figure that out. I'm not perfect. I still make mistakes. I still struggle with mindset. It's not like it's just something that happens automatically every day, but there's so much opportunity out there. And I mean, I guess other questions would be, like what are some other things that they're not top things to do, but what are some other things agents could or should be doing to ensure more success or less struggle?
That's a good question.
And that would be, me finding mentors and coaches was definitely at the extreme top of that list. There's a mentor I have now that I just value immensely, and without him, I might still be struggling with my mindset. And I can call him up or text him to say, what about this direct mail piece? But that's not in my belief, that's not really the important stuff. It's more about leading the highest quality of life. Like that's the discussions that we have, and how to become a better person. And maybe that's overused with all the self-help that's out there or whatever, but that's the reality. We have to become those better people. And when we do, more of, the business we want to have, I feel happens. One other thing about prospecting that I wanted to bring up, not a question, but what I've also found, when I realized this, business also changed, and I know I discussed it a little bit of this, is if we focus on the result, we're going to struggle usually. If we focus on the process, good things will always happen, no matter what we do. There was a time where one day I had a goal of making 1,000 dials, and I did it. I'm going to ask you this question and see how this goes. They were old expired leads, so like 10-year-old expired leads. And I was calling through RedX data using Mojo's dialer. I wanted to get through all the numbers and get to 1,000. Took me about 8 hours or so. How many appointments do you think I set?
From old expireds, 1,000 dials. How many contacts?
I don't remember.
Yeah. If you are getting a 30%, let's say 8 hours, 80. I mean, I would have my guess, my expectation of what should came out of that, because we recently tracked that with one of my clients. But I would say, I don't know, 4.
Okay, so the answer is 0.
Okay.
And I was so absolutely thoroughly excited by it. And the reason is, a lot of those numbers were bad numbers because, RedX gave me like 6 numbers for each one, whatever excuse I want to come up with. Could it be my script? Sure. Time of day, whatever, all that stuff. Sure. I accept all that. But what I noticed is, by continuing to work in the business or on it, however you want to look at it, I was now, and whoever wants to believe in energy and foo-foo or frou-frou or whatever, is by showing the universe that I was willing to put in work, and a lot of work. What immediately happened after that is, I had other people that reached out to me, and I forget the exact phrase, but a buddy of mine told me something to the effect of, work begets work, basically. Like, what you put out there, you will receive. So again, I didn't judge the 0 appointments that I got. It didn't matter. I ended up probably getting more business at that time than I ever had, just by putting forth the work effort. And I was so excited about it. Doesn't mean I go into that experience say I want 0 appointments.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, but I'm glad that you shared that, and I think that's probably one of the most valuable things that you shared all day today, because you said work begets work. The way that my coach taught me that principle was, the universe rewards those who take action differently than those who do not take action. And I had a woman that I was working with, her name was Alicia, and Alicia would have a goal to speak to a specific amount of expireds every single day. And I kid you not, Blair, she would call them every single day. And 30 days into it, I'm like, you're getting close, keep going, don't stop now. Now we're at day 60, still absolutely nothing. Come on, it's a 90-day cycle, Alicia. I'm selling her on a 90-day cycle. You're 3 feet away from gold. 90 days comes in, absolutely nothing. But business was booming, like meeting people at the park, meeting other moms that, want to buy a home, etc. And business was good. And she got absolutely nothing from expireds. But what happened was, when she stopped working expireds, she stopped getting all this other business that was coming to her. And she wanted to know what's going on. I said, you need to call expireds. And then she would call expireds again and still get nothing from expireds, but she would get business. The universe rewards those who take action completely different than those who don't take action. And you talked about the process, Blair. And, I tell my clients every single day, don't measure your success by the results that you create that one day. Measure your success by whether you did your job or not. And if you did what you were supposed to do, then that was a freaking damn successful day.
Totally. I mean, in the case of calling expireds, it could be, are we using, and I'm not bad mouthing anyone, but are we using Vulcan or RedX? Maybe the data isn't good. Did you call at 8 a.m. and maybe it's better to call at 6? Are you calling on a Friday and you should have called on a Tuesday or call every day? We just don't know. So it's very rarely the process. I mean, you know, if you stand these days, if you stand in a $20,000 house doing an open house, is that going to yield the best results for you? Probably not. But outside of that, like everything works in this business. So absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Blair, I want to say thank you very much for giving us your time today. And I know there's people out there that were just blown away by everything that you shared. And maybe they want to send you a referral to the Phoenix metro area, or maybe they just want to, like, be surrounded by a marvelous, good person like yourself. How do they reach out? How do they connect with you?
Yeah, so my cell phone is 480-233-6433. I normally don't answer it, so it's best to text me first, and then I'll answer. And I really truly do love giving back and helping agents of all experience levels. So I would love to hear from anyone and everyone. I'm here to help our community. It's one of my biggest passions.
Awesome. Well, I so appreciate you, my friend, and thank you very much for being on the Top Listing Agent Show. Very proud of everything you've done. Next level, baby. Let's keep going.
You got it. Thank you so much.